Dawn, July 5, 1943. The ground at Kursk is shaking like a giant drum. Artillery flashes, tank tracks grind, and men are throwing themselves into the chaos of smoke and mud, believing this is the biggest tank battle in history. But what if we change just one thing? Just over the Prokhorovka ridge, a strange block of steel appears. It has no past. It belongs to no one. It sees right through the smoke, and it fires before you can even blink. If you want to know who gets their hands on this monster, subscribe to the channel and stick around. Operation Citadel is underway. Germany is pushing its panzers forward, trying to cut the Kursk salient in two. The Soviet Union has answered with a sea of mines, anti-tank ditches, and pre-sighted guns covering every inch of ground. Inside a German Tiger, the crew grips their controls, listening to the engine roar like a beast. On the other side, a T-34 crewman presses his forehead to the gun sight, waiting for the signal to charge. Infantrymen cling to the tanks, ducking under a rain of shrapnel. Lift your head for just a second, and you're gone. On a map, it's all arrows and numbers. In real life, a 50-meter mistake is a death sentence. Recon planes see long smoke trails scarring the fields like claw marks. Down below, phone lines are cut. Orders have to be carried by runners. Mines go off in scattered blasts, a constant reminder that every meter forward is paid for in blood. The Germans are banking on speed. The Soviets are banking on defense in depth. Neither of them knows that a third player is about to enter the game. Suddenly, a strange whine cuts through the air, right behind the ridge. It doesn't boom like artillery or rumble like a tank engine. It shrieks, high and cold, like a saw blade tearing through the sky. The ground gives one short, hard jolt. When the dust settles, what's lying there looks like nothing from 1943. It has a low hull, an angular turret, a thick gun barrel, and dark glass eyes clinging to it like sleeping insects. A Soviet recon team is the first to crawl up, their hearts pounding with the rhythm of distant guns. At first, they think it's a stray German Panther, but the longer they look, the more wrong it feels. There's no German cross, no familiar shape, just strange steel covered in fresh dust. They signal back. 2 rifles are raised. An officer shouts, "Stop." It could be a German trick. The message spreads faster than a bullet. Minutes later, an anti-tank team and a T-34 arrive. The tank's gun turns slowly, as if unsure whether to trust what it's seeing or to follow orders. The monster stays silent. But inside, it holds a name from the future. The M1, a 2 Abrams. A machine born with composite armor, a fire control computer, thermal sights that see through smoke, and a 120 millimeters gun that can end a fight before it even begins. The Soviets don't know any of this. All they see is a stranger, lying in the middle of their battlefield. And in war, the most frightening thing isn't the enemy. It's the unknown. A warning shot cracks the air, kicking up dirt right in front of the silent machine's tracks. Inside a strange block of steel, sound awakens. A switch flips, fans howl, screens ignite. A battlefield flickers into life, painted in heat. For the crew of the M1 Abrams, smoke no longer hides anything. A soldier is a red lamp. A burning engine flares like a small sun crawling across the earth. In the first second, they see 2 enemies. Close by, a Soviet T-34, its gun locked on, an officer shouting orders into the wind. Farther out, behind a thin strip of trees, German armor is maneuvering, a school of steel fish. Stand still and die by friendly fire. Shoot the Soviets and declare war on your allies. The decision drops, cold as steel. Shoot the Germans first. No explanations. The fire control computer locks. The turret turns smooth enough to be terrifying. The 120 millimeters gun kicks once, and at a distance 1943 never imagined, The lead German vehicle erupts. Another shot, and a second heat spot vanishes. Soviet troops freeze. They hear the blast, see German armor burning, but they don't see who fired. On the other side, Germans scream into their radios, hit by something that won't show itself. A startled T-34 fires at the Abrams. The round slams the armor, spits white sparks, and ricochets away, useless. It leaves only scraped paint and a cold silence. The Abrams just saved them, and it proved it belongs to no one. News of the strange steel block slides onto the Soviet command map. The order is cold. It must not fall into German hands. It must not be left free. An NKVD officer appears, hauling an anti-tank platoon as an escort. Protection on paper, surveillance in truth. The Abrams doesn't understand Russian, but on the thermal display, it sees intent. Soviet heat signatures begin to form an arc behind it. Ahead, German tanks push forward. Behind, all eyes become a shadow holding a noose. The crew understands. Being taken alive is worse than being burned out. A knot of panzers breaks from the smoke. The Abrams fires long, fires clean, then slides laterally, refusing to be read. Every shot saves Soviet lives, and every shot makes them more afraid of the thing that never asked for permission. Then the trap closes. Soviet engineers, following orders, begin laying mines on the low ground, the only escape route for the Abrams. It cannot shout. It cannot raise a flag. It has only an engine's roar and a gun. The turret turns slow toward the minefield. One round punches into empty ground. The earth leaps. The soldiers flinch. Behind them, the NKVD officer says, his voice flat, "If it trains its gun on us again." Fire. July 12, 1943. The Battle of Prokhorovka opens like a colossal forge. But for the Abrams, the smoke is a thin cloth. It locks a target before a Tiger crew even knows it's been seen. One shot, and a lead tank stalls. A second shot, and a Panther's turret is canted like a snapped neck. On German radios, reports turn into a groan. They're being hit by a ghost. The Soviets begin to trail the Abrams like wolves, wanting its cover, wanting its leash. When a cluster of T-34s gets bogged down, the Abrams turns, sets its hull as a shield, and clears a path. For a moment, the Soviets are saved. For a moment, the NKVD believes even more that this thing must be held. But on the ammo display, the number drops fast. The fuel needle falls like leaking water. The ring of both friend and foe closes in. The Abrams has only time to look down. How many shots are left? The Germans aren't stupid. After the first minutes of panic, they stop trying to charge straight into the mouth a 120 millimeters cannon. They change the game. Artillery takes coordinates, firing bracketing shots, trying to force this ghost tank to show itself. Panzer crews are pushed forward as bait, zigzagging through smoke, trying to make the Abrams waste its precious rounds. At the same time, engineer teams slip out and plant mines in the low folds of ground, the easiest escape routes. The cruel part is, the Soviets are doing something similar. They want to herd the Abrams toward a safe patch they can control, to lock it down before it vanishes again. Two nets, laid one on top of the other. The Abrams sees it all on its thermal sights, but it can't shout a warning. It can only avoid. Turn, change heading. Every turn burns more fuel. Then comes the shriek of incoming shells. One blast lands so close, the ground lifts, and the hull jolts as if it's been slapped. The thermal display flickers. The heat picture smears, like an eye hit with smoke. There's no clean battlefield map anymore, only blurred shapes and hot specks jumping in the wrong places. One bad shot now could be friendly fire. And if it stops to fix anything, German guns will find their range again. The Abrams crew clenches down, fires one round back to crush an observation post, and reverses hard. But behind them, a few Soviets misread the turret swing as a threat and start to press in. The Abrams is forced to fire into the dirt, again an intimidation shot, not lethal, just to carve out some space. Warning lights flare, ammunition is low, and the retreat routes are mined. There's no miracle that can beat something as invisible as logistics. The Abrams is the summit of future warfare, but that future is still chained to fuel and rounds. The turbine howls, and the needle drops step by step. Every push of the throttle is a self-inflicted bleed. The ammunition rack is the same. Every 120 millimeters round is a decision, and 1943 has no factory to make more of those decisions. The thermal screen, shaken and smeared, stutters like a tired eye. They know they are going blind, minute by minute. At the edge of a minefield, a T-34 is stuck, its tracks screaming. Far off, German heat signatures are gathering into a knot, slow but certain, like a fist closing. If the Abrams leaves, that T-34 crew dies. If it stays, it burns fuel, spends rounds, and drags both sides closer. The crew inhales and chooses just enough. 2 shots into the ground ahead of the T-34. Mines chain detonate, earth and smoke punching upward, opening a freshly plowed corridor of mud. The Abrams slides broadside, a moving wall, and the T-34 backs out along the cleared scar, wobbling free. But the ammo count drops again. The fuel needle kisses the red line. The Abrams slews its gun toward the only open seam of smoke left. One escape lane remains, and it leads straight into disappearance. The tank slips into the smoke like a wounded animal that still has teeth, but whose eyes have begun to fail. By morning, all that's left are track marks and blackened wrecks. On German radios, they call it a ghost tank. On the Soviet side, the story mutates. A secret weapon, an iron demon. But the truth is colder than the myth. A single machine can't hold a front. It can't grow its own fuel, ammunition, or spare parts. It can turn a few hours into a nightmare and still be forced to retreat by the most ordinary things. Kursk remains Kursk. A ghost cannot rename a battle. If you want me to keep writing the hunt for those track marks, comment below. Who do you think the Abrams ultimately belongs to? Thanks for watching.